So I would like to introduce you guys to Sylvia. She's met Cindy. She's new with us. And Sylvia, you're with regulars. These are some of us that are here most meetings, not all. Nobody's here, all of them, including myself when I have to reschedule. But you've met Cindy. Cindy is a very active member of the Trenton chapter, which is also my chapter.
Oh, okay.
She's coming up as far as research. She's got lots of basic questions, which are good. And so she's kind of listening a lot so that she can continue to learn. Cindy, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Cindy. Hey, Cindy again.
And
Hey.
then Laureen is the lineage chair for, help me out, Laureen, what's the name of the
Emily
chapter?
Geiger. Emily Geiger. Yeah.
And she helps out her registrar very much
Oh,
as that lineage chair. And
okay.
then Barbara Lewis is the registrar of the Margaret Gregg Gordon chapter in Kingstree. And Lorraine, where are you at?
I'm in Bluffton.
That's right. Of course,
Bluffton, Bluffton, South Carolina.
we're
Yeah.
all South Carolina here, Sylvia.
Oh, okay.
This is the South
Oh,
Carolina Volunteer
okay.
Genealogist Group. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in, well, I've told you before, McCormick area, the Savannah Lakes. And I've always, my dad was stationed, my dad was a retired, well, not retired, but a former Marine. But because
Oh,
they tell me not to say retired. So,
yeah.
but anyway, and so we lived in Beaufort, and then after he left the Marine Corps, he went to work for Grumman, which turned into Gulfstream. So we
Oh,
moved
yeah.
to Savannah.
Yeah.
And then my family, my mama's from Conway, South Carolina.
Yeah.
So that's where my roots
That's
go.
great.
So
Okay.
Laura Lubinsky just joined us. And
Hello. I don't
Laura
get
has
to
been
make a lot
doing,
of them. And I'm so excited when I can because like my job is unforgiving. And then Saturdays are the only days that I get to spend with my husband because he works Sundays.
oh,
And then, but they're up in DC right now, Susan.
okay.
Jeffrey, my youngest, I have to have 2 minutes of mom time. He is at Florida State and he's a history and communication major and he's in the honors program and he's got his minor in IT, but he is planning to go to grad school to be an archivist. So
Oh,
Love
cool.
he
it.
got this big fat grant to do his honors in the major, and it's something to do with maritime history between America and Great Britain.
Oh,
Yeah.
And so he's
wow.
up there at all the archives pulling all these things on this guy named Porter, and he got to hold his will that wasn't all completely covered, and he still touched the wax. And he
Oh,
went to the
wow.
Library of Congress. He's got this little card that he has to have to like research there. My husband's walking with him. And he goes in and they're like, okay, sir, he doesn't need your help. Have a great day. Because Jeffrey just wanted to share it with him. My husband was dismissed. And he's like, I guess I'll go to a museum. So, and he knew he wasn't going to spend the whole day with him.
Right.
He knew that, but he just wanted to share it.
That's
Oh,
So,
pretty
so
cool.
I have Saturday free today. So I'm
I'm
very
so
excited.
glad. And Laura, you are one of the members that I think of when we try to have a Saturday morning.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it because normally I'll be like past my dad's moving here. So
Okay.
he's been here a lot of weekends and we're getting his apartment and furniture shop. It's just been a really busy year. It's a good year. It's just been really busy. So
Well, now, Laura, you're the new registrar of what chapter?
Joy Scott.
Joyce Scott.
Yeah.
And Sylvia is a new chapter, or a new registrar of Lung King. And this is her first meeting with us. So we're just
Oh,
kind of going
cool.
through introductions.
So
I
yeah,
wanted
I've
to
been
let you,
Charlotte's assistant for a long time.
right.
Well,
Yes, Laura's got a lot of
yeah,
things
for
to
about a
share.
year. But now I'm like I finally have image access and
Right.
full because I was the second Rice Regent, but you don't have full e-membership. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take a lot of time to like understand that really, really well so I can answer a question on the fly.
Makes
Yeah.
it different. Barbara Lewis was registrar and didn't have image access, and we found out at a workshop, and there were some other registrars there, and we were all looking at her like, "Girlfriend, you are missing out on the pay dirt. We got to get
Mhm,
you in."
mhm. Makes all the difference in the world.
It does.
All the
What's
difference.
it called? Image what?
Image access.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Is
seems like
is
I've
the
seen that.
What, Barbara?
Is the registrar the only one that has image access?
At
And
the
it's
chapter level, yes.
right. I thought so because they all
Now,
come to me. I'm
well,
off.
here's the thing. I got to put a plug in here, an important one, you guys. And I'm glad we're recording because these will go up on YouTube. I'll trim off all the,
Oh, thank you.
stuff at the,
Okay.
stuff
Like
at the beginning. Now, be patient with me because it takes me a little bit of time to squeeze time in there to manipulate these videos because, like, the whole of the hoopla of, oh, Barbara, where are you? You just look like mustard yellow. I mean, we probably won't have that on it. But
That's not my color, but
yes,
that was the color of my tape.
yeah, oh,
I
that's
know.
why it was.
Oh, I heard that. You know what? I heard the same thing, Barbara. And believe it or not, I put a sticky over my little camera.
Yeah, yeah.
I do.
I
I
mean,
heard that. I heard that they
they
could
watch
spy on
you.
you. Don't
Okay,
even
let me
know.
get to my plug.
Okay.
If you do not have image access, I can get it for you if you agree to help out another chapter in crisis. So there are registrars out there that need help. I'm waiting one right now, and I shared this at the last meeting, but Cindy, I think Lorraine, you were there.
Yeah.
Okay, one right now is actively working, and it's a beautiful relationship where it's a very healthy registrar. So it's not, when I say it like that, it's not like she's panicked. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Right.
There are some like that, and that's okay. We love them. But this one, it was doing a great job, but she had 20 applications on her desk. And no matter how hard she tried, she still had 20 applications on her desk. Her chapter, her chapter is in a season of growth, which is great. But she was just kind of like, I'm overwhelmed. So she
Mhm.
asked her regent, may I, Susan's been saying something about getting an assistant. Are you okay with that? So you do have to have that struggling registrar's regent's permission. And they reached out to me, and I found them somebody in a chapter near them, but you have to be of a different chapter. You cannot. Laura, we kind of talked about this a little bit when you were assisting your registrar, and it does not work when you're assisting your own chapter's registrar.
Right. I just helped her with the applications.
Right.
I helped I did the lineage research piece of things. And
Laura, that's perfect. No,
yeah.
that was great. And I wish more chapters had someone like you to help their registrars.
Yeah, boy, I
But-
sure
Yeah, they
do.
should.
Yeah.
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 So, when we find somebody that wants to do research, like Darlene Levy is really somebody that's on my mind this morning. I'm going to be working with, seeing if we can assign her somewhere. She does not have image access because she is not a registrar.
Okay.
However, she really enjoys research and she's pretty darn good at it. Right now, we've got this relationship in Charleston area, two different chapters, one's helping the other. They live in the same neighborhood, which cracked them up when they found out they get along beautifully. And it truly is, the registrar is kind of like the boss. And she asks this assistant, can you go maybe boots on the ground, go to the library right here locally, or would you see if you can find a path for this new prospective member that we should be examining? And so the assistant is like, oh, yes, this is awesome because I don't have to take any responsibility. I
Right.
don't serve on the board you know, and so I mean, this is working out really good for them. Okay, so that's the best case scenario. Let me just say that.
Okay.
I'm also working with a chapter that's struggling as far as they're new and their size for their chapter is too small.
Ours is too.
You do have a small chapter.
We've lost a lot. We've lost a lot of members. Yeah.
Well, keep this offer in mind, Sylvia, because
Okay.
what's going on with this other chapter is they've got a pile of prospective members, but nobody to work it because their registrar's kind of gone AWOL.
Yeah, that's sort of kind of
So we are in the
kind of where
process.
ours were.
We're in
Well,
the process right now of we've already submitted the paper to national. We've got their regions beg. We've got a volunteer genealogist who has stood up to say, yes, I would love to help. And then we've got the state regent also has to sign off on it. Then it gets sent to me. and I log it in and then I send it on to national. Well, this week they're
Okay.
kind of busy at national, so we're
Okay.
waiting for that authorization to come through. But this will work out really good. Again, not a member of the chapter that's struggling, but
Mhm.
somebody that really doesn't want to do anything but research, and she's good. And so this will work out because they've got somebody that's just punching through numbers, through application after application after application. So, Laureen, it's something for you to consider if you've got time,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
Cindy, it's not, when you get ready to where you're feeling more comfortable, it's definitely something for you to think about too.
yeah.
The other thing I've got right now, you guys, I probably stepped out prematurely, but before the last meeting, I sent emails to every member that had a supplemental AIR outstanding. And I said, the Volunteer Genealogists Committee is here to help you. Well, now I've got a few of them almost breaking down my door, wondering how come we haven't signed up. Yeah. So I've got some people that need help, but I don't have any volunteer genealogists who have stepped up and said, sure, I'll take a look at it, see what I can do. You know, I'll
I'll
just,
take a look at one. I'll start with one.
okay, let me write
Yeah,
that down.
everyone.
Okay. That means a lot, you guys. I appreciate that. Now, I know one of these, and I'll have to look at, I'd like to get the oldest one done first, sort of
Oh.
thing. But I know one of these is 3 supplemental AIRs and they're all connected. So that would be like one assignment because that when she submitted the supplemental AIR, she went to, let's say, the Patriot and found out that the Patriot's father was also a Patriot and the Patriot's father-in-law was also a Patriot. I'm using that as an
Oh,
example.
wow. Okay.
And so she submitted them all at the same time and they came back. So it could be, and I'm working on one of these right now too. I just got through working with one of them where we went to her Patriots was already verified. And so she branched off to the next generation. And what we found out is that her Patriot wasn't married to the right woman. So,
Oh,
so that one we had to give up on, say, okay. But we were able to get to that, and you're going to find things
So we're able to do the Patriot's father, but not the Patriots' father.
right
Okay.
because she had put down the wrong spouse
Oh,
on the
okay.
Patriot. So let me write these down, Lorraine and Laura. Okay. Boy, you know what? I almost like Saturday mornings. I don't mean to have as much energy as I usually find out I've gotten these videos when I go back and look at them. It's like,
Well,
it's Saturday morning.
Tuesday, when I'm like troubleshooting in the background for work, so I'm getting like a third. I just couldn't do that this Tuesday. We were down our staff and we're in a big transition. And then I lost internet and I got it back last night.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
I know there's times, Laura, that you've tried to join us from work, and I don't know how you do that. It's hard.
Well, yeah, it is. So I appreciate the option.
Okay, on the YouTube, like I said, it takes me a little while, but Barbara, I just uploaded the video that we did where we were focused kind of on the how to work the workshop. Do you remember that? Barbara
mhm.
Jers joined us, and we really kind of focused on you and on Stephanie Bowen's Is a Queen a chapter. I was just trying to trim it. It was such a good meeting. I ended up watching the whole thing.
Was that last Tuesday of this week or the one?
No, you were involved in it. Yeah, it was like
Because I
April.
missed Tuesday of this week. I had other things going on.
What?
I did. I
It
did.
happens. I mean, yes, I'm sure you did.
Stuff happens.
Yeah.
True.
No, you're here a lot of them, Barbara. I'm not at all put out. But
I don't care.
I'm just saying I was really brought into that when I was just trying to trim it. I found myself watching the whole thing again, doing side work or sort of thing, Laura, while I was watching it from the side. But it was one of our best meetings. It was a really good one. So that one is out there on the YouTube channel. Now, um, we were talking a little bit about YouTube before everybody got here. I'll send Sylvia the link to that channel. Do you guys all want me to send it to you
Yeah,
so you
please
just have
do.
it?
I don't think I have it.
Okay.
I think I bookmarked it, but I don't know where to find it.
And I think February was the last time I uploaded anything, so it's been a little bit. Okay. Laureen sent me some really good questions this morning, and I was going to go somewhere else, but I love it when this happens because if it's a question to one of you guys, then it's something that's probably on more than one person's mind. So Laureen, I'm going to take these out of order.
Oh, that's fine.
But her question was, let me pull this up here. I'm going to share my screen. I don't know. I tried doing that in a video I made just for Cindy, and it turned out that I really screwed that up. Okay, you should be able to see just a document. Okay. Um, what we're looking at is the genealogical guidelines, part 2.
Okay, the part 2.
Is this online?
It is online. It's on the members' website. Here in just a little bit, Lorraine, I'm going to go ahead and show us how to get there. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Is that,
no, I've gotten there. I know, but yeah.
yeah. Now, a lot of times, everybody does their thing their way. And Barbara Jurors, she bookmarks this on her desktop. She's got an icon on her desktop to where she can get to it immediately. Whenever there's a revision, I didn't do it this time. Usually they tell you, here we go. Here in the preface, it tells you what revision it is. Do you see it? January 2025. And hang on, I see you squinting, Lorraine. How's that? Is that
Yeah,
easier to see?
better. Mhm.
Okay. January 2025 was when this revision was released. And so it's fairly new. They do revise it about every 6 months. Now, I will tell you, watch out. The national administration is changing. So get ready for some changes. And everything that applies to us is going to be in the genealogy guidelines. I'm changing website screens here real quick just to show you. Okay. I'm just going to do this now while I'm thinking about it. My computer's a little slower when I'm in a Zoom meeting. Isn't that just handy? Okay, so just pretend like I've logged into the members website originally. So I've put in my national number. Well, let's see, my state, my chapter, and my national number to log in to the members website. And then I click on or hover over genealogy right here. Can you guys all see this?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. I just gotta say, we should be able to get to this box, and sometimes it's hard to do because we are at that outside corner for genealogy. It just happened to be the luck of the draw there. But when we hover over it, we can see this over here and all of the options that are below it or inside of these subtitles. And that's where we can see genealogical guidelines or genealogy guidelines, part 1, part 2, part 3. But sometimes catching that corner is just really hard to do. So just
Yeah.
go ahead and click on genealogy. And if you come down here, it's the same 4 subtitles. And so we're going to click on genealogy guidelines. So part 1, Sylvia, if you don't know this yet, this is a really good time to point it out to you.
Okay.
Part 1 is your job as registrar. It
Okay.
goes into the nuts and the bolts of the registrar's job. Not so much as far as the research or the application, but what your responsibilities are and somewhat of the research, but mostly focused on what does a registrar do?
Yeah, that's just the role of the registrar. That's what I've just completed
Right.
with the videos yesterday.
Yes, absolutely. You said you did GEP 1, which
Okay.
which aligns with part 1 of the genealogy guidelines.
Okay.
GEP 2 will align with part 2 of the genealogy guidelines, which is completing the application and proving lineage.
Okay.
And then GEP 3 will line up with service of the Revolutionary War ancestor.
Okay.
Okay. So, oh, Bonnie Glasgow's joining us. Okay, so then What I did is I clicked on this part 2 in
Hmm.
order to get to where we're at here, which is this genealogy guidelines.
Okay.
Let's see. Hi, Bonnie Glasgow. I don't know if you can hear us yet or not, but we're glad to have you join us. She's got her mic muted. So, oh, hi, Bonnie. Can you hear me?
Hey, I'm Ann.
Awesome. So glad you're here. We're going through some points in the genealogy guidelines, but feel free to speak up anytime you have a point.
Okay.
Okay, so in the genealogy guidelines, the question that Laureen had this morning, one of them, was if we are doing an analysis, what do we do with citing the sources that go along with the analysis? Does it go on the analysis sheet and also on page 3 of the application? And that's a good question. So from this screen, I can hit Control F on my PC. I don't know if it's different on a Mac or not. And I just typed in the word analysis, and we can scroll down and kind of look for where there's things about the analysis. That's one easy way to do it. There's also a really good table of contents, which you can scroll through and see. But right here is where it talks about, we're not going to go into the details of analysis. I just want to answer Lorraine's question. And her question can be answered right here. The sources used in an analysis do not need to be cited on page 3 of the application unless they are being used to prove additional dates and places in the lineage. So if you're just using that document for the analysis, then all you have to do is put it in the analysis. But if that document has got other goodies in it, then of course you want to make sure to cite it on the application. And that's exactly what it goes on to say. For example, an analysis may mention a death certificate in which the parents are not named. And this same certificate may be used as proof of an individual's dates and places of birth and death. In this case, the death certificate should be cited on page 3 and in the analysis. However, a land deed which hints at a possible relationship would usually only need to be cited in the analysis and not needed on page 3. So an analysis is only written when you're trying to prove a lineage link and there's no direct evidence to nail it for you. You've got to look at various other pieces of information in order to make it seeable or provable that that lineage link exists. So does that help, Lorraine?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That's perfect. Thank you. That's
Y-
right to the point.
great. I like it when that happens.
Yeah. I had a land deed and yeah, perfect.
Okay. You should not see the document anymore, right?
Oh,
I
do
Okay.
not-
Mm-mm.
From here, I see all kinds of things. The other question that Lorraine asked, and Lorraine, I thought it was a really good one because as I review other people's work, I see that there seems to be some confusion in what her question what is the correct organization of the supporting documents of an application? And the way I look at it, and Lorraine, I thought for sure I could nail it as well as I did on the analysis, find something in the genealogy guidelines, but you're right. She said, I looked and I don't see this.
Yeah.
But to me, it just makes sense. I mean, please understand, it is not the documents that we are highlighting, it's the information on the documents.
Okay.
And there is a difference. Okay, so of course it's important to have proper documentation, but we are not searching just for documents. We're searching for information that proves lineage, that proves.
I feel like that's circling back to me.
Good. In what way, Laura?
You asked me to look at something and I said, why are we having all this documents? Here's the death certificate. And I found it with like 2 minutes, like, because what was going back and forth with that email. And
Yes.
I won't air the laundry out. But I'm just like, but that's just easier to cite and it's one piece of paper rather than four. And it's like I've got it drilled in my head. Keep the documents as simple as possible. So if the vital record is there, use that. Don't use all the other stuff. So
I can't remember that exact situation. I know that we did volley
you
a little
asked me
bit on
to
it.
review an application, and
Right.
like make sure everything was right. I'm like, but there was like a draft card and announcement in the paper and an obit in the paper. I'm like, but there's the death certificate right there. Let's just use that. So and you like we're just verifying the information. I'm like, yeah. But I took it as, can you do additional research on this? So I did it a little bit differently. I'm like, yeah, just use that. It's simple.
There you go.
I can
No,
put
that's
PC,
great.
PC, MC, I'm a happy girl.
And that's what we should be, is thinking linearly.
Yeah.
So in going to your question, Lorraine, the way I look at it, and I will debate or I will discuss and see if there's other ways of looking at it. When I review somebody's work, where I've got the supporting documents in front of me and I'm going through it generation by generation, I don't want to chase the documents. I want to chase the information. So on every generation, it should be information about the husband's birth and the husband's death, and then the wife's birth, and then the wife's death, and then their marriage information. Because not that that's the way life works out, but that's the way that the application is formatted. Okay. Then the lineage link, because then you got to jump to the next. If you've not already covered it with the information that we just talked about for each generation, then the next step is the lineage link. Bonnie, do you have anything you would like to input on that? Are we thinking right?
You're thinking right.
Bonnie is, we are very, very pleased to have Bonnie join us this morning. She's been doing genealogy or the DAR for a little bit of time now, huh, Bonnie?
Yeah.
He's a
By the way, I'll be 92 tomorrow.
Well,
Yeah.
happy birthday.
Happy
Birthday.
birthday.
And
Wow.
I'm still doing applications.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I
She
need to
just
sit with you,
lives.
Barney.
She lives and breathes applications.
Oh, I
That's
love
okay.
it.
It's doing good for her.
Um,
And
Yeah.
well,
me.
Bonnie, how long have you been doing applications for the DAR?
I've been doing applications for my chapter for about over 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why if I go, Bonnie, are we okay here? I mean,
Bonnie
When
knows.
we are
when
very,
I first
very,
joined, when I
Have you
first
seen a lot
joined,
of changes, Bonnie?
Bonnie was it.
Oh, really? Oh my goodness.
Lorraine,
Yeah,
Bonnie, Lorraine wants to know if you've seen a lot of changes.
If I what?
If you've seen a lot of changes in application requirements.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I disagree with some of the things that are going on right now, but of course that goes with each administration, and you have to go with the flow. You have to do whatever they want you to do, not what you want to do.
Right.
True.
One of my go-to sayings is, if you want to play with the genies, you have to play by their rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I took my first course under Sarah Sickle in way back in the 1990s, I guess.
yeah.
Well, we're just thrilled to have you here. Like I said, anytime you feel that we need corrected or redirected, you do not hesitate to jump in. So thank you. Another thing okay, because you know me, I can ramble, and you got a choice this morning. I was going to talk about the direction of the Volunteer Genealogists Committee, which we covered a little bit. Well, actually, we covered a lot on Tuesday. Or a couple of people have asked me, why can't I use Build an App? So I was going to walk through that. Or a lot of people are having this question about how do you evaluate supporting documents? How do I know which document is the best one to use? Where do you guys want to go?
Best document to use.
Does that feel good?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that helps me because I'm listening.
Now we got,
All this is like, oh, I feel, yeah.
I get prospective members, no joke, with a pack of this much. And I'm like, it's just too much to go through.
Well, Laura, not only that, but you're like, I really wish there was something of value in here.
Well, it's like, why are you giving me a death certificate of your uncle?
Right.
It
Oh,
only
no.
shows that his parents were married. I'm like, but that's not even a requirement to be married. So,
But
yeah,
yet you go, thank you.
yeah. I got this file from our last registrar, and she's like, like she made a joke about it, and I'm like, oh boy, you weren't kidding. She says, no, ma'am.
And I've had people tell, well, just recently I had somebody tell me that she didn't think she qualified to join the DAR. Another one of my go-to statements is, you've got a patriot until I can prove you don't.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And so she brought me 3 printed family genealogies.
Oh, wow.
And I started just massaging her own, what she had told me. And then I got to the point of, okay, maybe this book is of value. Well, it wasn't indexed. It wasn't in any really good order. It was, somebody's hard work, but it just wasn't well organized. And so I asked her, where is your family in this? I'm looking for like your grandparents. She goes, oh no, they're not in this. It goes back, you have to tie into that much further back. And I'm looking at it like, and it's just, pretty much stories of family lore. It was a wonderful book, but
Just
okay, let me say this too while I'm thinking about it. During Tuesdays, I feel like I owe, especially Lorraine and Cindy, an apology.
Oh,
During Tuesday's meeting, I was feeling pretty good about the fact that I had sat down at a DAR, SAR type lunch from somebody, and she told me her parents' names and about the year that they were born. Before lunch was over, I could get her to a Patriot. I was not saying that to say Susan's really good. I was saying that to say this is a possibility. All of us can do this. There are a lot. Now, I'm not saying that that was a great line and that I had the application done. I had a roadmap that led to a well-known patriot. That's all. And that's what we need before we can really start working on an application.
Mhm.
There's a lot of good trees on Ancestry and on Family Search. There's that big universal collateral tree.
Yeah.
Now, you've got to trust but verify. And a lot of times when we do that, we see that, oh, I'm working with a junky tree here. This tree is trash. I can't use it. But that's what I was trying to say, is that in just that hour and a half that I was sitting across from this woman, I was able to say, oh yeah, you qualify. We got you somebody. And so then I may have had to backtrack and say, okay, I started doing the work, and no, we don't. We have to work really hard on this. But I was able to save face, and yes, we've got our application completed. So what I'm saying is that it's not Susan, it's that it is possible to follow those junky trees until you prove they're wrong.
mhm.
Does that make sense? Everybody can do this. And I encourage all of you to understand that you can. While you're sitting there on your cell phone, find somebody a patriot. Right now, with the 250 coming, there's not a better time than to be able to jump in there and do that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. What I've got to share with you now is I did a class I put together on supporting documents evaluation. And this is part of the series that What the Genies Want You to Know, which is a 4-part class that I've taken to various places. I honestly haven't looked at it in a little while, so I glanced at it this morning real quick, and let's hope I can remember everything that I planned on saying with it, but we'll get through it. If you have any questions, you just, this is for conversation because we need to learn these things. Okay, a lot of times we get confused over definitions of terms. So it's very important. This whole mindset on this class, if you will, is understanding the difference between supporting documents and information. The supporting documents, those are the pieces of paper that we send in with an application. They are a piece of written, printed, or electronic matter that provides evidence. That's all it is. The information is the facts about a situation or a person or an event. Do you guys see the difference?
Mhm.
Okay. So it's the information that we're looking for, not a particular supporting document. We are aware that a lot of supporting documents are favored, and there's reasons because they've got a lot of good information. But let's go ahead and look at some of that reasons. So this is a marriage certificate. It is a supporting document that merely holds the information that's written on it. With this marriage certificate, we can tell that Jean A. Adams married Betty Sue Brown, okay, on the 17th of September in 1953 in the county of Spokane, Washington. Do you see that? So this is a good document, but it's the information that we want, right?
Hmm.
Again, thinking of terms and definitions, let's look at the sources, if you were the generations of sources of that information. A primary source, and there's primary, secondary, and tertiary. There will not be a final exam on this. This is just to give you some understanding. But a primary source is raw data. I mean, it's just basic data. Original sources of information before it has been analyzed. So a journal, let's say. Okay, it's right there, it's primary. The characteristic is that it's firsthand observations, contemporary accounts of the events, viewpoints at that moment, at the time. So examples of these would be interviews, speeches, diaries, birth certificates, because that is at that moment in time. And I actually clipped this, these are not my words, I clipped this off of true definitions of the primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. And this was kind of from a little bit of a sciencey kind of point of view, but again, newspaper articles written at the time. Now, a secondary source, sources that analyze or interpret the primary data. They do not offer new evidence. A lot of times these are interpretations of information, and they are written after the event, and often they give a review or a critique of that primary source. So this would be biographies, journal articles, textbooks, commentaries, editorials, literary criticisms. As you can tell, this was not a genealogy website that I got this from because they would use better examples. But do you see the difference? So the primary is at that moment in time. The secondary is reflecting back to that moment in time to report what had happened. Then you've got tertiary. And tertiary is a compilation. It's sources that compile data on a particular topic. So this could be collections of lists of those primary and secondary sources. Can you guys give me an idea or what comes to your mind when it comes to genealogy work that would be a tertiary source?
Social Security Index.
Absolutely, Lorraine. Yep, that's a very good one. So which one do you think is going to be the most accurate when we look at a birth certificate or Social Security death index that shows the birth date or birth information?
Birth certificate,
Right. Why?
because it was at the time.
Very good. Absolutely, Barbara. It's just that right there. Okay, now here's a thought that I don't think a lot of people consider. Let me just say this caveat right now. I'm going to disprove a death certificate, but please, if you've got death certificates, use them for DAR applications. But this is just something to consider, and so that you can understand when you have a conflict in evidence or supporting documents, which one do you use? This is my great-grandfather's death certificate. And so he died in Joplin, Jasper County, Missouri, Ollie Oscar Betterton. And so that information is primary because he just died and they know where he died, correct?
Right.
Okay. What his birth date is secondary.
Secondary.
Is somebody's birth date primary or secondary to the person that it belongs to? Meaning, when I tell you my birth date, is that primary or secondary to me?
Primary.
No, it's secondary because I don't remember, Barbara.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, that's a tricky one, but yeah, I mean, I fell for it too the first time I heard it because it's like, of course it's mine.
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't really cognitive at the time I was born, so I believed it from what other people had told me, and that is secondary. So now I happen to know that the informant on this is Mrs. Viva Betterton, whoops, his wife. And she's one that gave September 23rd, 1892 as his date of birth. So it would definitely be secondary, wouldn't it? She wasn't there at her husband's birth to witness that he was born. Okay. Birthplace, same thing, right?
Hmm.
Where was he born? Well, of course he was born in Berry County, Missouri, right?
Hmm.
Well, you know what? You take it when you got it, Lorene. But if we find something that conflicts, we've got to look at
Yeah.
where does this information come from? Okay. And of course, it's secondary about who his parents were. Same sort of thing. Okay. And then, of course, his date of death, we are recording a document at the time of this occurrence. So this is primary and this is primary. Do you see my mouse circling when I say this? Okay. So the top part here and off to the right, those are the only primary pieces of information or sources on this particular document.
Susan, I have a question on that before we move on.
Sure.
I have a death certificate that has his birth as the same year as he died, but his age on there is like 79. How do I draw that to the genie's attention when I send it that that's wrong information on his death certificate?
Which
About
one is wrong as far as you're concerned, Barbara? What do you mean? The
birth.
age?
His
Okay.
birth.
Do you have something that better proves his birth?
I hope I do. I don't remember.
Well, okay, here's an example, and the reason I ask it.
Census.
If you've got a death certificate like that, that's kind of wonky, and you've
Mhm.
also got one of their draft registration cards, the draft registration card is closer to the event, and it's that birth date is typically given by the person that is alive that is celebrated that day, versus on a death certificate, you're getting the information from someone who is distraught.
And it could have just been a typo, but they put him the same year as his death. on the-
I heard you say that, but I'm like, no.
but yet he was like 79 years old. So use your noggin, this
Right.
can't be right. But I didn't know if I needed to do a little
You could write a little note on the margin.
Yeah, that says
Yeah.
I've already marked it like that, and the census proves his birth, as he was married and all.
Can I ask a question about that scenario? Because I have something similar that I'm working through with it.
Or Laura, yeah.
One of the things I thought I could do from reading through the DOC and the guidelines is you can use the 79 and do circa for the year since you have that death
Right.
certificate. Can we do that as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you've
Those
if you
ones
see,
where they have a death certificate from like 1925, and it's so hard to find original primary birth
Right.
certificates. So,
well, and a lot of times you wouldn't necessarily go looking for the birth certificate if you've got that death certificate in front of you, because a
Right.
death certificate is a wonderful document in that if it's filled out correctly, it encapsulates a person's life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why the DAR likes it so well. I mean, like, this one that we're looking at, my great grandfather, I mean, it's got, um, you know, Mrs. Viva Betterton at this point, it shows that he's married. And so there's, we can assume that one's a little loose, but because she was the informant, maybe it would help solidify that. But what I'm saying is, okay, we've got his name, including his middle name. We've got the town, county, and state that he died in. We've got the date, month, and year that he was born, and even the county and state of his birth. And then his parents' names and the state that they were born in, and then his death date. This is a beautiful death certificate. Right here, I've got everything that the DAR wants. So as we're looking at this stuff that I'm sharing with you in this class, if you will, remember when we're working on a DAR application, it is not, if you want to play with the genies, you got to play by their rules. Okay. So if they want that death certificate, you give it to them. I am saying if you've got a tombstone and a death certificate that are conflicting, let's look at what's the deal. Okay, Barbara, you're holding up something to me. Oh, is this the 1927? And then scoot it over to your right a little bit. Oh my goodness, look at that.
Okay, so what's the death month and day? I'm sorry, the birth.
April 16th, 1927 is the
What's the birthday that they're putting? Is it before April?
They put April the 16th, 1927, but he was 74 years, 5 months, and 7 days.
Yeah, I have one like that.
That's
So
crazy.
I just wrote a little note on the side.
Well, yes. And, the other one that gets me, I've seen it many times. Again, when you're dealing with death certificates, you're dealing with a distraught informant, or else,
Yeah.
they don't have the information that you want them to have. And so a lot of times, blows my mind. So somebody's sitting down and they are the informant for a death certificate, and it gets to the name of the father and the mother. It's the child of the deceased that's filling it out. And so they put the deceased person in as like their father. Do you
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? They don't understand. So you're missing a lot of information there. So let's say Ollie Oscar Betterton's son, Wayne, filled that out. And he gets down to the mother and father place. He goes, well, my father was Ollie Oscar Betterton, and my mother was Viva. And then you're like, well, that's wrong.
Very.
Because the instructions are not sometimes given very well, and the person's just given this form, fill this out. So you do see, mistakes. Okay, I'm going to skip over this next slide because I looked at it and I sure had a reason for having it up there, but I think I don't remember the details of it, so we're just going to go on. Okay, again, let's look at some more definitions. There's a difference between an original and a copy. Now, I know that all of us know that because we've used a copy machine. But before copy machines, important documents were hand copied by copyists. So a lot of times you will have a handwritten document that is actually a copy, but you're feeling pretty secure in it because it's handwritten. Well, anytime that you take a document and copy it, I don't care if it's on a machine or by hand, you're going to lose quality. So just be aware of that. I thought I had hang on, I thought I had, we're going to get into it. I'm going to show you a little bit of an example here. Okay, then there's also another term that we need to be aware of is there's a difference between okay, you've got the original or the copy, and then you've also got a transcription, an abstract, and an index. Now, these can all be pertaining to the same information or the same set of documents within a collection, But we have degradation that continues on from that original. So a transcription is a written or printed representation of a thing, of something. So it's like when we're reading a document that's an archaic document, handwritten. Now, we don't know a lot of times if that handwritten is the original or the copy. There are ways, but let's just look at that document. And then we decide we're going to type it all out so where it's easier for us to see and it's easier to share. And I will tell you, it's often beneficial to go ahead and transcribe out a handwritten document because as you are, you will learn things about that document that you didn't see when you just read through the handwriting of it. It's amazing exercise. So don't be afraid of it.
Can I interject something real quick about transcriptions?
Sure.
So this is what I've done a couple of times. So we all have AI or speech to text. When I'm reading something on like family history or I can't think of the name of it, or on Ancestry where I see the original document that was scanned and it's really terrible cursive and I'm doing like this number with my Peters.
Right.
Well, I will like read it out loud into my notes. So I don't have to, and it'll put it in text. So if I have to go back and refer it later, I don't have to say, where did I see that on this document again? I can look at it on my saved notes and then go back for these really, really hard ones, just so I'm not spending so much time to circle back and double check stuff. I still,
Right.
obviously I don't use that to submit it. I still submit the document, but it just makes it easier for me when I have to keep going back. It's just read it out loud.
Well, that's the same thing. Not everybody understands how to do talk to text. So you're getting the same results because you're reading it out loud. It's making you slow down. It's making you connect words and thoughts. And whether you do talk to text to do that, Laura, or whether you actually sit there and transcribe it out as you're typing it, I think that would give you the same result. And in both those exercises, you would have a typed copy where it would be easier to go back and look at it.
Right. I do it just because I'm limited on time. And when you have like a 9-page will, it's like I just read it out and then just puts it all out on there and then I can just search for it later.
So one of the things that came out in Tuesday's meeting is that we need some technology classes, and we're going to start doing that. I might ask you to show us how to do that.
Oh, so easy.
Okay, let's get back to this, or else we'll never get through it. But okay, so
No, it's for another day, but I'll be happy.
yes, would you be willing to show us how to do that?
Yeah, on another day. Yeah, let me prepare some stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so transcription is a written or printed representation of typically what we're working with of something of a document, land deed or probate record, etc. An abstract is a summary of the contents of that something. So it used to be very popular before the internet was strong and before, especially before full text search came out, that genealogists would painstakingly, out of a labor of love for other researchers, go through large sets of documents and summarize it and then publish those abstracts. So you would see like 4 lines where, somebody died in this county on this date, and here were the errors that were listed in his will, and here's his witnesses, and when it was proven in court. So, it would just extract out the important stuff. And that's what this abstract is if you've ever seen that kind of information, that's what it is. It's just a summary of the original document. And then there's an index. An index is just a finding aid. I think we all have worked with indexes, especially with Ancestry. We live there. So let me give you just like a little case study of showing you how this all works. Here is the original or the copy of the will of John House. Now, personally, and again, this is one of my personal ancestors, I believe that it's a copy because if you look at the handwriting of the signature, it lines up with the handwriting in the document. So I believe a copyist was paid to recopy the will of John House. I also know that this was if you if you see here, it's a bound volume. You can see the binding on the inside, and this is the other side, or this was on the right-hand side, and then on the back side of it was these pages back here. And so you flip the book. Well, John House is probably not going to run in there to the probate court and write his will down in a book in the right order. So I believe that this is a copy of the original will of John House. Here we've got John House, state of Tennessee, Wayne County, to my daughter, Elizabeth Hendricks, so married woman because she's got a different surname. And on this 27th day of February, 1844. And I don't, yeah. So this is good information for this will. Now it's also got other people listed in here, but of course, when we're going through it, because there's Elizabeth Hendricks, married daughter, my daughter Nancy Thornton, married daughter. The balance of my estate shall be divided onto my other daughters. Okay, so this is when I transcribed this. And the reason it's underlined is this is actually one of my applications. You know, I pulled this out of one of my, I can't remember if it was my original or one of my supplementals, but still. So in this transcription, I put down where I was able to find this. And of course, it was at Family Search, or no, this was Ancestry. Okay, I tell what it, you know. There we go with John House of the state of Tennessee, Wayne County, to my daughter Elizabeth Hendricks, and then my other daughter Nancy Thornton, and then there's others. There's the 27th day of February, 1844. Looks good. Transcription. So this is an abstract. This would be, like I said, you will find these where somebody goes through and just extracts stuff that's of, pertinent information for genealogists. So in this abstract, we've got the abstract of John House's will, John House of Wayne County, Tennessee, only son, Dennis House. And then we've got these daughters, Elizabeth Hendricks, Nancy Thornton, Hannah Hughes, Mary Roberts, deceased. And then we've got the signature and who the witnesses were. Have you guys seen something like this before? These? Okay. Here is the Ancestry.com index of this will. Shows John House and, Wayne County, Tennessee, the date of the will, probate place, blah, 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 where the item is. It shows a picture of it. And it shows Dennis House son, Elizabeth Hendricks, Nancy Thornton, and Hannah Hughes. Well, someone's missing. It says Mary Roberts, deceased. She never made it to the index. That could be a really big deal. Okay. Any questions about that? Did you guys see? So let's say you were looking for Mary House or for Mary Roberts, maiden name House, Mary House Roberts, and you were just looking at the index, you'd miss her completely. And yet, a lot of times, now in this will, I don't remember it doing that, but a lot of times when you see a child mentioned in a parent's will and they're mentioned as deceased, they will also list the grandchildren who the estate should be split to that was that child's part. So it would really be sad to miss that particular child. So don't just bank on those indexes. You might want to have opened, if you had a lead that John House could have been the father, you would have wanted to open that up instead of just trusting the index. There's mistakes that can happen every step along the way. And so the more degradation you get, the more stuff falls off, is my point. Okay, now the primary, secondary, and tertiary sources, I told you I picked up from some sort of scientific journal website, which I thought did a very good job, but there was a little, well, this one I created, and it's probably kind of wonky, but I was like, what's a good way to remember how we can understand or evaluate supporting document information or evidence? And this is what I came up with, was the 5 W's and the H. So who, what, when, where, why, and how. So it's important when we look at a document to find out who provided the information. And then think about where they qualified. You know, so let's say you've got two pieces of information in front of you, who provided the information on those documents? And, right there, you might have a little bit more weight on which one was more accurate if you've got a conflict in evidence. What kind of a document is this? Typically, documents are either going to be personal, sacramental, or government. And it would depend upon what piece of evidence, what is it in that document that is of importance to you to decide whether personal, sacramental, or government would be the better source. And I think it will make sense as you start looking at this. When was the document created in relationship to the information? We talked about that with death certificates. And like Barbara just showed, we know that the birth date has got to be bad if he was born and died on the same year and he's 79 years old. So, but we also know that a death certificate's made at the time of the death. So when was the document created in relationship to the information? Where? And again, I made this up, so you got to go with me here a little bit, but what was the emotional stability of the setting? Where were they at emotionally when they provided this information? Why? Why was this information important at the time it was created? And then how? Was it primary, secondary, or tertiary? How was that information collected and brought to you? Now we're going to go through these a little bit. Do you guys, though, by just looking at this, kind of understand why these points are important when you've got conflicting evidence?
Yeah.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, here's my family again. This is the first census that my daddy made it. He was baby Bobby, right here, 2-year-old son in the 1940 census. Okay. Now, in the 1940 census, they gave us a really nice tool by giving the X with a circle next to one person in that household's name. And that let us know who was the informant of the information that is written on that census form. And so it was my grandmother. Was she qualified to give this information? The names of her children and their ages and where they were born. I think she was very qualified to give that. So had it been the neighbor, or even let's say that they were living in one of the husband or wife's parents' house and it was the grandparent, they would probably be qualified, but not as qualified as the mother who gave birth to these children. So, that's pretty good evidence right there that Jackie, Rosemary, Bobby, and Raymond were 5, 3, 2, and 1, and they were all born in Kansas. She's qualified. Okay, what kind of a document is this, you guys?
Primary.
Death certificate.
It is. It's kind of an antiquated one, but it's, not what we're used to seeing in our standard format today. This one was dated November 1882. So let's, like I said, it's been a while since I've looked at this. So let's see. I'm looking at my, okay, is it a personal, sacramental, or government document?
It looks like it was a government, State Board of Health.
I believe you're right. It wouldn't be a personal one, even though it looks a little different than what we're used to. When it says State of Illinois, Cook County, City Board of Health, yes, this is a government certificate. So why is that important? What do we get out of knowing it's a government?
And it's pretty much accurate or true.
Well, a lot of times we're respectful. of the information that we share on a government document.
Mhm.
You know, okay, when was this document created? I gotta look at this here. Okay, this is a general affidavit, State of Missouri, County Lawrence. Personal appeared before me, a notary of public, within and for the county and state, aforesaid Lee L. Betterton, whose post office address is Verona, Missouri, and whose age is 70 years old. Claimant and makes oath that he was born November 10th, 1837, and further states that there is not nor never was any public or baptismal record. Whoops. Okay, a little backstory. And again, I haven't done this class for a while, so I should have written down my script and I didn't, but I was looking at this morning going, oh, we could look at this. This is from my great-grandfather's pension record, or great-great-grandfather's. Anyway, there's actually a letter in his pension file that says, I do not know where I was born. The family record has been lost. What do you want me to do about that? I don't remember when my birth date was, you know. And so later on, he's coming up and saying, fine, I was born November 10th. So it's here it shows that this document was stamped in 1908 when they received it. Do you see that stamp up there in 1908? And that he was born November 10th, 1837, and he's 70 years old. If we found the family Bible that somebody had written in there in different handwritings of every year of when the children were born, would this document be better, or would that family Bible be closer to the date of his birth?
Yeah.
What was that, Laura?
Bible.
I think so. Of course, without seeing it, we don't know. But in my scenario that I'm giving to you, that's the answer that I wanted you to come up with. So, I mean, just because this one is so easy doesn't necessarily mean it's absolutely correct. Now, again, when we're dealing with DAR applications, they want the least amount of paperwork. And so you got to kind of weigh, does it make sense that I have, I've got the year 1837 on the census and that he was born in Missouri. How much more do I need? And that's a decision you have to make. But I'm just saying, sometimes it's worth the evaluation of evidence, and sometimes, you just go with it.
So, in just for DAR application purposes, could we just use the census if we have a death certificate?
Well, the death certificate would give the death, so you would have more information there than the
Oh,
census.
okay, that's right. That's right. But if we didn't have, we could use the census to prove age. Okay.
Now, a lot of times people get fixated on the fact that they need a death certificate when they've got a beautiful obituary.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times that obituary will give information about the deceased parents and also the deceased's children. Again, you have to look at each piece of evidence you've got, each supporting document. But I have seen obituaries that give date of birth, place of birth, date of death, place of death, date of marriage, person married, parents' names, children's names. You got that, you got something better than a death certificate.
Mine
Because
should
you've
just
got
say Lord
lineage link.
died. That's all my obituary is going to say is Lord died.
Don't do that to the people coming up behind you, Laura.
She died. It's not funny. It's
Okay,
not funny.
now this document is a census record of New York. I'm looking at it. I think this is it. This is a state census record. Yeah, I'm looking for 1854. And it's got, again, this is another line of mine, a totally different line, but it's got my French immigrants that came in, Anton Zuber and his family. Where were they at emotionally when they gave the information for the census record?
I would
Right,
think
Barbara?
Should have been stable.
La-da-da. Sure, we'll give you our information. Yeah, we're proud to be here in the United States. We want to be here, but they didn't really have a whole lot to gain or lose by it, did they? I mean, there wasn't a lot of emotional impact. And if there was, it was very personal. It's not like everybody that answered this information was, had their heart tore out of their chest in order to provide information for a state census record. So that's another thing you have to think about. This is good information. Where were they at emotionally? Were they now, and you can weigh that. Were they distraught, so they were very emotional, or were they balanced, where they were just providing the facts or, you know. Now here's another one, and this is for, okay, so the last one, the immigrant from France, his son is now dying, and this is his son's probate. I love this record, though. I tell you what, these big cities know how to knock those records out of the ballpark. Vincent Zuber died, and these are his children or his heirs, including their addresses and what relationship they are. I was just like, oh, still my heart. This is lovely, you know. But why was this information so painstakingly put on this document? It's all about the money, honey.
Ah,
Must have had an estate that
Mhm.
could be accounted for.
I would think so, Laura. You know, if I saw this document not knowing this family, I would have to think so.
Yeah.
I mean, this is amazing. Like I said, you've got all of the women's married names at that time. I will tell you, these brothers and sisters went to court against one another for the estate. It was large enough that they
Yeah.
battled. Wonderful set of records, though, I'm telling you what. But this was almost the beginning of it all. They were just petitioned for a designation of an appraiser. That's all this document is. So, anyway, if it's about the money, it's important. I had a brick wall and I was at the Family History Library in Salt Lake City, and I wanted to interact with a professional genealogist to get some advice. And he said, walk with me. That's what I got. And I was like, how do I get through this brick wall? He turned to me, he goes, you follow the money, honey. And he walked away.
All you're gonna get. Yep.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, if you've got any money to follow. So think about it. When you look at census records and you see that typically the head of household shows that there is an ownership of property, go look for those land records. And I mean, if you're really working on a hard case, you follow the land until you realize that they've sold it out of the family, so that's not part of an estate. Follow the money, honey. So just making a connection, does the information from one document link to the information of the next document? And I believe that this is something that the genies get very frustrated with, and why we do not know that we're following different men by the same name. So let's look at this real quick. This is most of you know my mother was adopted from an orphanage, so this is her biological father's death certificate. It's kind of hard to read because some of these big cities anymore make them harder, but Frederick F. Kuhn, or Kuhnen, or Kuhn, or Kuhn. I mean, all kinds of different spellings of that last name, and it's all listed right here on this death certificate. He died February 23rd, 1978. He was a male, white, ethnicity American, done. Date of birth, December 31st, 1916. That's pretty exact, considering that they know that he was divorced. No record available on his father's names or mother's names or birthplace. He was a bartender. Number of years in the occupation, unknown. Employer, unknown. Kind of industry, unknown. Lots of unknowns on this guy. A little bit of the backstory is that it turned out to be just a friend of his was the informant, William F. Connell, friend. There was an investigation because he was found deceased in his apartment. So all we've got here is that, it does say up here, birthplace New York, and his birth date, December 31st, 1916. And again, his name, Frederick F. Kuhn, and that's all we got. Oh, it'd be easier if you could see it. Yes. Frederick F. Kuhn, here's all the different spellings. Died February 23rd, 1978. Male white, American, birth date December 31st, 1916, 61 years old, born in New York, which is interesting because this is a California death certificate. No record available of his father's name or birthplace or of his mother's name or birthplace. A citizen of the USA, his social security number, divorced, bartender. That's about all that's really known of him.
And died of cirrhosis of the liver. Drank his profits.
Probably. I mean, okay, so on this, whoops. I don't know if, yeah. Okay, so here, oh my goodness, sorry. Here is a certificate of marriage registration. Trying to get there. Trying to get to the blown up one. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so remember his name was Frederick F. Kuhn. Here we've got Francis F. Kuhn of Flushing, Queens, New York. Some information that ties in here is, of course, he's a white male.
The bartender.
His birth date is December 31st, 1916. How many Kuhns were born on that day in New York? I mean, maybe lots, but that's kind of interest. And the fact that he's a bartender kind of ties this together. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
This now, however, gives his father's name and his mother's maiden name. It also gives his wife's name and where she was born, her parents' names, and the date that they got married. So when we're looking at all of this, we find out that Frederick F. Kuhn is probably Francis F. Kuhn, or Frederick Francis, Francis Frederick. The date of birth was so loudly pronounced. And there's other documents that I've collected about him, and that date of birth is never wrong, which I think is interesting because that's not always the case with some people. His place of birth, New York. Whitestone is in New York, which was on his marriage license, so that's assumed. And his occupation being bartender. We've got 3 pieces of evidence. Whoop, sorry. We've got 3 pieces of evidence that are very strong, and this can work. But do you see how one document linked to the other? And there's got to be something that links those documents, or we don't really have a lineage going anywhere if we're just pulling documents that don't connect. So that's the key to supporting documents and how to evaluate them. That was that class. I hope you guys got something out of it.
Thank you.
Thank
A lot of people have been asking me questions like, well, don't I have to have this document? I was like, no, you have to have proof of that information. And that's what's important. It's not the piece of paper, it's the information that's on the piece of paper. So,
Works good.
what's that, Barbara? Did you say something, Barbara?
I said, that's good.
Okay.
I got it.
Organizing the documents.
Okay.
If we don't have a birth certificate or death certificate, we put the piece of information that we have in that order.
That's the way I always think of it, Lorraine, is if the genies are going through and they, follow the application,
Yeah.
not the date that the document was created, not the anything other than I am listing this person as the prospective member. Well, their birth certificate should be the first piece of documents on our supporting document list.
Maybe what you have is a census instead. So you put the census first.
The census should be put the first time that it's referenced. So it could be for the birth of a child to give the, and then you only use the census once.
Right.
And
Right.
it goes
It
in
will
the
still trickle
generation.
down.
It goes in the generation of the head household unit of that. Like if it's the daddy census for 1900 and the son is listed in it, it goes under the daddy's generation as the 1900 census.
Bonnie,
So how-
Bonnie, would you let me see if Bonnie would like to answer that.
I would put it the first, you need to put the census, the first it's used, whatever you're trying to prove.
So no, Barbara,
Well,
because usually,
in the guidelines.
okay, I love it when we go to the guidelines. You do that.
Let me find them.
Okay. Let's see. Nope, I guess I closed it. I thought I still had it open.
I have them printed out, all 80 something pages.
And that's perfect.
Let me see. Y'all go ahead and discuss something else.
Are you kidding?
I have the guidelines up. Do you want me to just do a quick search?
Sure.
Yeah, for the census, I think it's page 67.
Which one? One,
Part two.
one moment.
I totally love it when this happens. Oh my goodness, Lorraine. I'm calling the last meeting the conversion of Susan on e-apps. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
I got it here. Do not provide a copy for each generation. One copy is sufficient.
right?
Page 3, cite the source in each generation for which it is been used, with the exception of census records. Cite census records in the generation of the head of household.
Oh my goodness, I got to see this. Now, what page did you say that was?
Page 67, part 2.
Do you want me to share my screen?
Sure.
Okay.
Can you? I might need to.
Yeah. You might have to allow it. but-
Right. That's it. There you go.
All right.
This is when it refers to 2 or more generations.
Okay, good. Barbara, I'm so glad you're asking this. I want to see what
And you
Laura
said
is
it's on
showing.
page 67.
67
Okay.
of part 2, genealogy.
I just go down there. Not
Yeah, you're on page 50. Yeah.
there's 67. Okay.
Slow down.
Okay. Links
Not
between generations right here. Do you see that?
Yeah. To verify the lineage, documentation must show the relationship between the child in one generation and the parents in the succeeding generation. Vital records and obituaries usually include the relationship for generations more recent. For earlier,
You're on one.
what?
It needs to be, instead of links between generation, it needs to be documentation relating to multiple generations.
So go up.
I don't see it on this page.
There it is.
Okay.
There.
I think I have an older copy of the guidelines.
I think
printed.
so.
They make those changes so much.
I think I printed out the January 2025 one.
In some cases, the documentation here are more.
Keep reading, Laura.
Oh, okay. Make one copy for each pertinent page, assemble them in order. When available, title the publication. On page 3, cite the source in each generation for which is to be used, with the exception of a census record. Cite
That's
census
it.
the generation of head of household.
Okay.
That's what it says, isn't it?
Yeah.
What
Yes,
page?
ma'am.
What page is that online?
It's
Lauren?
on page 67, or this one's on 68.
Okay.
So this is, I just want to point out, Susan, sometimes the ladies in the DOC
Yeah.
kind of point us in the wrong direction. I always go back. So whenever they say it's on page whatever, like whenever I
Right.
respond on the DOC, I say it's on page whatever under this, just so people can either double check me and tell me, hey, you're wrong. Because if I'm wrong, I want to know the right way. I don't ever, I am not offended if I have the wrong information and somebody checks me.
The other
So-
thing no, and Laura, my goodness, I got all kinds of things going through my mind I want to share. Number one, on this issue, I do not think it's going to be sent back to you if you get it in the wrong generation for a census record. We should always try, of course, to do, the best work possible on this.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we have our committee that we can have this moment to look at this. And Barbara, thank you so much for bringing this up. So that's awesome. But please, I don't want anybody to freak out oh my goodness, I can't do anything until I, get this exactly right. We should always try, of course.
Yeah.
But
So this is weird though, because if you're just using it to do a circa for a birth date for the child,
I
it-
know.
it's just weird if you're not using it to link it to the parent if you have a will. You know what I'm saying? That's
well,
it's weird. I think you're right. They're not going to kick that back.
no.
So
The
Well,
other thing I wanted to say, Laura, I see you out on the dock, and I love that. Do you think you're
ask a
getting
lot of questions.
do you think that you have a large benefit out of being out there?
Yes. And I trust the doc more than the Facebook
Oh,
pages.
you think? Yeah.
Because we have our leadership in the doc,
Right.
and they're monitoring it. It's like every once in a while you can find some good information on Facebook, but Facebook's just gotten just too loaded with a bunch of stuff that I don't even look at. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I sometimes I'm like, I can go through 400 pages of material and look for it, but I know these ladies are going to know. So,
And they're nice.
yeah, they are nice. I don't ever take offense if somebody says to me, you're off base, because
No.
I don't know everything, and that's why I'm asking. So,
And
Doc.
but I mean, in the Facebook arena, there's just not as much protocol. I mean, it's just, in the doc system, at least it's a nice, polite place. And if they do tell you that you're, off base, it's not to be degrading you. It's just to tell you you're off base.
yeah, we're helping each other. That's why I'm
Right.
asking guidance.
All I know, is to read the guidelines. And when I read that, I had always put it in the generation that I was referring to. I'd cite it for the child. Here's
So,
proof. Is this
So,
it?
Lorraine, does this go back to blowing your mind as far as where to put what when you're talking about how to organize supporting documents?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to evaluate, look at it again because I have a debate going within the chapter about where to put some things.
I think that you should still try to go in the linearly as you are answering questions in the application, and once you put it in, anything else falls down to the next generations or up. You don't need to list it again on
Yeah,
the citation page. But I
right.
also wouldn't overthink it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to do what you think is right.
yeah,
But
I'll put a note on it, on the side. What is the doc, the system of the doc?
POC.
let me show you. This is amazing. If
I've
you've
got it
never
right
been
here.
here,
I got it right here if you want me to just open it
sure.
since I'm already sharing.
Share, can you make your screen larger so we can see
I
the
call that biggie size. Yeah, I can do that. I can
Mhm.
biggie size it.
Oh,
Maybe,
look at you.
maybe.
Yeah.
One moment. Can you tell I do this stuff for work on the phone?
Yes, I think you're doing a beautiful job.
Thank you. A moment. Oh my gosh, where did my icon go to make it big? Oh, come on.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, I know what I'll do. Okay, so
There
when
we
you're
go.
on your member website,
Mhm.
if you go to member community, it'll bring you to the DOC, and then you have your little profile. You're like, hi. And then you can go into your communities as well. Like, there's all kinds of communities. My favorite one right now, no offense, Susan, is the insignia.
Why would I be offended? Have you seen my phone?
I won a pin during the Pinquisitive and I won $25. So it's my favorite. I won.
That's great.
So, and then like, let's go to lineage research down here. And then if you go to the threads, you can see everything that everybody is asking. Why can't I make this bigger? It's because it's in Zoom share already.
Oh,
But you can ask any question in this community and they'll answer questions for you. And I get it, like you can sign up for a daily digest or a weekly digest where it shows all the questions and quick responses. So even if it's not something you're currently
Yeah,
like losing, like I need to know this answer, when you can just quickly review it, it puts it back in your head that there's something there.
I
And
have it. I have it
Who
going to
is
a
monitoring- Yeah, who monitors this and answers? Is this from the
this is
genie?
all DAR. This is DIR's initiative to get off of Facebook.
oh,
Am I right, Susan?
Absolutely. And because there was just a lot of trash and
Yes. So you can count
But
on
there's
what
still the
they-
Facebook presence, I mean, this is just a lot more business-like.
Yeah, some people don't care for it. Some people like the touchy-feely of Facebook. I don't. I prefer this.
I hate Facebook.
I know, I don't trust him.
Where this is like Laura's showing a lot more focused on a topic, meaning, committee. Because another one is that I'm been kind of watching because I love commemorative events, is the commemorative event one. And I'm really looking forward to see what the new administration is going to list as their commemorative
Oh
event.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Um,
you log into it, like you log into DAR as a member, and then you log into it here. So there's nobody getting on here that's not a member.
Mm.
a lot of times you'll get answers from some of the national gurus themselves.
Yes.
Cindy Cornell, Susan Johnston,
Mhm.
there's just a lot of well-known national
It,
experts that are out there.
it's really a nice. I think, oh, Susan,
But
we should have like a DOC workshop
there's a
at
lot of stuff we need to do because
at our state conference. So just a little background, I work for a cancer hospital out of Florida, and we have a patient portal. So when patients call in and have problems, we do the tech support for them, and I'm the team lead. And I love this kind of stuff. Like I do all of the training material and all that other stuff. So anyway, I just get really excited about this stuff.
we
I
never get excited in this group. Come on.
no, but yeah, of course I run through my head a bazillion things that we can do and not do. But anyway, okay, I hijacked. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Going back to the doc, and don't be sorry. Going back to the doc myself, the committees that I choose to follow, I get daily digest to, and so I wake up to emails that just have, and that way, and I don't read all of them every day, but then there's some that really interest me, and I dive into the doc itself and I start swimming through it in different mornings. You know what I mean? It's just like it's not a requirement to do it. And nobody knows if you do it unless you talk like we are now, meaning, how come you didn't like my post? You know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't get
It's
that
got
kind
a
of
lot of information out there. It's got a lot of info, and sometimes they have contests and you win prizes.
especially in the insignia committee. I
Yeah.
didn't have time to keep up with that. It looked like so much fun,
It
Laura.
was, and it came perfect timing because the last week, the 6th week, was the week that I won the pin, and I finished all my CEUs. So I was like, yay!
I am proud of you. That is totally cool.
I know, I'm so excited. And then I text my youngest son, the one who wants to be an archivist. I'm like, look it, and so now I'm like, I have to get all of the America 250 commemorative pins to pass down to my archivist son when I am no longer around. My husband's like, that's the reason. That's the reason why you need to buy all the pins. I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, go ahead.
Your fault. You're his dad.
Yeah, he's like, go ahead. No, he just laughs at my reasoning. Anyway.
Well, as we wrap up this meeting, are there any other questions, comments, concerns, thoughts?
I have 2 registrar questions that I'd like to pick your brain. And it's a little touchy. I'll start with the least offensive. So where I was coming in from, and I don't disagree, but when we have a prospective member, we've been down the rabbit hole so many times and had people on the PD for so long that they have kind of started saying, you need to give us the first 3 generations of vital records before we start all of the rest of the research and the application. How do you guys do that? Or is that just something that our chapter does?
I
No.
realize that different chapters have got their own cultures, and I'll put that out there, Laura, without hesitation. It's kind of the decision of the chapter and of the registrar. Personally, I am now the registrar of the Trenton chapter, and no, I don't wait for those first 3 generations because not everybody's meant to be a researcher.
But I mean, you can order. See, what I have done for some folks, I'm like, they gave me their date of birth, their folks' and their grandparents' date of birth and location. Like, okay, so we're going to need to have some vital records, and I'm not legally allowed to order those. And I would tell them, don't go to vital records. You can go to this county, and give them the link. Just fill that out and send that in.
And I think you're doing a very big service when you do that. Some registrars go figure it out yourself.
No, I don't want to do that.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
I want to be welcoming, but if they don't know how to do it, I'll show them how to do it. But I tell them legally I can't do it.
Right. I've gone as far as filling out the forms, printing out the forms, taking them the forms, having them write the check, and I'll mail it to get the record. Because not to everyone, but you get a feel for whether these prospective members are capable of.
Right.
But
Right.
when, I have dealt with some chapters where the registrar folds their arms across their chest boldly and strongly and says, you got to figure it out yourself or you're not worthy of joining the DAR. I
No,
don't agree with
I
that.
don't agree with that. Everybody has a different skill set. And when I came up here, there was one particular member, and I still avoid her like the plague, that was so unwelcoming. And I never want to be that person
Right.
to
Yeah.
anyone else, because we're a service organization, and
Yeah.
we should be welcoming and like, I will avoid this person. She was that ugly. And
Well,
I'm usually a positive poly person. I give people the benefit of the doubt. Nope, she ruined it. But
well, and it's just that, different chapters have got different cultures. So I have interacted with regents of other chapters who, again, have got their hands folded strongly across their chest saying, we are a major part of the DAR is lineage, which we all
right,
know it is. And if these prospective members don't care enough to have some skin in the game, they shouldn't join. That's their culture. I'm not going to say one side is better than the other. It's not what I do, but if
right,
that's what their chapter wants to do, I'm not going to say they're wrong. They might be a large chapter and they're trying to not grow. I mean, really,
right. Well,
so
I have a template, like a standard email that I send that kind of outlines what we're doing. If you need help locating that, let me know. I can help you find that information. So at least I'm not killing myself after hours, after I get off of work, having to recreate the wheel every time. I'm a really
well,
process-oriented person.
that's a really good idea. But let me also say this, the lady I sat across the table from and was able to find her Patriot and
Yeah,
during lunch. And then when I got home, I was able to tie it all. Somebody had just done some really good research on this woman, okay, and she didn't know it. Not on her, but
right. On that line.
um,
Mhm.
because her family's obituaries were so real well written, I was able to tell her later that day, I need your birth certificate and I need your marriage certificate showing that you are Mrs. Russell. Because
Right.
her obituaries had her, she was listed in her parents' obituaries and they were well written with all of the facts. So I didn't need their death certificates.
Oh, see, I have to get over that mindset that you need to have the death certificate.
Do you want me to show you this class?
No, no, it's a mindset, because when
It
I
is.
here, it was da 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 da. So anyway, okay, so that was one thing. Okay, so I just wanted to see how other chapters do that.
Well, that's the other thing, Laura, that I'm sharing is that, until you know, you don't know. So why would you tell them I can't do anything until you give this to me when you may not need
One
those
member,
messages?
I'm going to reach out to this one girl. She couldn't get her some information due to family issues, but I know the information is out there on an obituary, and I'm gonna pick her stuff back up, because she'd be a fabulous member. She would
Oh,
be
yeah.
a member. Um, so thank you for that. So my next question is image access. I am very cautious with people's personal information. I come from the land of HIPAA, and before that, I came from a land of investments, Series 7. Like, I don't share information. When somebody says, I want to do some research on our founding member and I want to pull the original application, and I know you have IA, I don't want to give it to her.
You can't.
Yeah, I'm like, you need to order it and then let the chapter pay for it.
Well, and Laura, you can't even print it without you
I
getting in
know.
trouble. Yeah,
But what if she says, what's the information? Can you give me her?
sure.
I
You
can
can,
provide the information, but no
right.
images.
Right. You
Because our
could look at
chapter
it.
is old, it's 90 years old. So, I mean, this person is long gone.
Doesn't matter. That's what you signed
Yeah.
up for in
So
order to have image access, which is really good for
I'm
Sylvia here
saying
too.
her death information, if she isn't somebody who just passed away where it's still restricted
It
information.
doesn't matter. Here's where my philosophy is as far as image access, is that people can buy supporting documents that you see through image access.
Right.
So it's an income stream to the DAR is what you are violating when you go outside of what your agreement was, that
Right.
you will not share this stuff. It's because that's an income stream and a very popular one.
So I can
And you
give
have
her
the
the dates, I can give her the information that I can see, but I don't even want to give her that. That's kind of, I'm very cautious with people's information.
when you're talking about somebody that died 90 years ago, I do a lot for members in my chapter when they say, I'm working on a supplemental, and can you tell me what was used to
Yeah, you
prove
can tell them
what?
that.
Absolutely. And I'll give them,
Okay.
and so 90 years ago, all of their stats should be in the GRS.
Yeah. She wants the
I,
original application, and I'm going to tell her she needs to order it, and
right.
then our chapter can pay for it.
Yeah, that would be perfect, especially doing founding daughters work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I just wanted some feedback on, but I told her to please email me so I had it in writing. And so I can have my official response in writing, because I don't want to just like, oh, here you go, here you go, here you go.
Well, you can give her information. There used to be something called the cold cases that the DAR had, and
Yeah.
I did not have image access, but whoever the person was with the cold cases, was able to kind of write down, well, I'm looking at this document, here's the title of it, the date of it, who all was talking about it. They could tell me everything they saw, but they could not give me a picture of what they saw.
Okay.
And so that
Yeah.
was somebody I was working with under division or state or
Right.
whatever, or national.
I just don't want to give her, I don't, I'm like, no, you can tell me something and tell me, and say, keep it quiet, and it's going to the grave.
And again, especially somebody that died 90 years ago, you are fine telling them everything you see. There's a little blot on the bottom right-hand corner. You know what I mean? But you just cannot give them an image of it
And
because you're
historical
selling some.
purposes, order it. For
Yeah,
historical purposes, order
yeah,
it.
they should. Yeah.
Because we should be keeping copies of everything as a chapter.
Well, that's the other side of it, you know.
But I don't need to go grab it. I don't want to lose my access, and I don't want to break
Oh,
the rules.
mhm.
So, okay. That was just, we can have a conversation a little more later. I just wanted to see how you would work around that. So,
Okay. Any other questions?
So
I have a question.
Well,
Prospective, yeah, the prospective members online on the membership site, how do you delete them off of there? Some of them that were prospective are still on there and they've died.
oh, that would be a reason to delete them. Let's look at that real quick.
I'm not sure. It seemed like I tried and
I
there's
think,
no way to get them off of there.
yeah,
And there did it. Yeah.
oh, I like to go back.
Okay, I think. Trying to think of which one's a safe one. Here we go. It's my mommy. If I delete her, I can put her back on there.
Yeah.
Right here, let me just make sure before. Yeah, okay. So what you do, Barbara, is you go into the prospective members account, if you will, to the display on that particular prospective member. Do you know what I mean? You open up, here's where your database looks like when you first go into it. Okay. And so you go to that one and
ID number. Mm-hmm. Click on the ID number.
okay. Then you go past their contact information, and in the status information,
Yeah.
chapter status, click on update, and
Mm-hmm.
then right here you've got a list of options and remove from list. You
There
have
we
to
go.
give a
Yeah.
reason. You have to give a reason. Death is a good one, so
Yeah.
there's where you go. I
Okay.
I just want to give a plug, and I know I've shared this before, but to me it's important. Um, don't don't give up on prospective members. Um,
Right.
I mean, if they're gone, then they're gone. But
I give up on it.
I was a prospective member for 3 years
Well, some
before I
of these
joined.
go back for years on our particular chapter.
But I mean,
I was registered 10 years ago.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
they
are
need
you
cleaning up.
contacting them every 3 to 6 months, Barbara?
I'm updating the ones that I know. I put a note on there on the
You
edit
know,
part.
that's the only reason I ended up being just, why it took me 3 years is I was the president of the Genealogical Society in our town, and that was enough for me, and they kept inviting me to lunches and to events and to meetings. And I was like, I wasn't against the DAR. I just didn't know that much about it, and I didn't want to join because I was busy enough. But then after a while, I'm like, yeah, I'll come to a meeting. And then a
Well,
year
I
later,
attended, I
oh, I'll
attended,
come to another meeting,
I didn't even have a patriot that I knew about when I started attending.
yeah, I didn't either.
And,
Well, I
uh,
guess I did.
yeah,
But
about 2 years before I found a patriot that I could
yeah.
depend on. So,
But I'm just saying, if it hadn't been for the registrar that continued to contact me every 3 to 6 months, she wasn't in my back pocket all the time to where she was an aggravation, I would have never joined it. I think I pretty busy with the DAR. Had she given up on me, I wouldn't be able to experience all that I am.
you
So
see all these photos?
I see all those.
Those are that. Oh, turn around. Those are my perspectives that I'm reaching out to, and I've already got a folder on them. I know who their
Good.
patriot is.
And Barbara, I was just not
I can put them
necessarily
to the water trough.
exactly. I was not necessarily lecturing you on that. It's just I think it's something worthy of sharing with most registrars. It's like, don't give up. Look at me.
What is that rule about they don't want it on there for more than a year or 2 years?
I have not heard that rule, Laura. Is there
Don't
one?
I've heard that I was told that National doesn't like to see it on there for more than a period of time.
Bonnie, do you know the answer to that one?
No, but I've got people on my list that have been there for several years, and I keep contacting them,
and they don't. They
and
don't.
then they sign up again, and they are duplicate. But I can remove them when they're duplicate, but that's about it.
Okay.
I think that's it's
I don't know. I'm getting a lot of.
well, I'll tell you what, why don't you go out to the dock and report back to us, Laura?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I'm just like, I don't like when I don't have like the original, I like original information and I like to piece it together and then make my process and like try and flow. And I'm a workflow person. Like I have
Okay.
workflow. So let me follow all the rules and then we'll tweak it along the way and we'll make adjustments as I figure out what process works best for me.
And I think that within reason, that's what that prospective member database is your tool. They can track it should something happen to you or, somebody else needs to jump in to where what's going on. But it's
I
just
put copies of my emails in there. I put
good for
everything
you.
in there.
Um, the registrar that worked before me, I'll tell you what, she was one hot registrar, and I am going to beat her record. But she made sure she wanted to give me a clean slate. I'm like, really? No, just leave it alone.
They were almost clean, and then I just added like 8 people recently. So, and then they want me to go out to the people that used to be on the PMD that are now off the PMD and reach out to them. I'm like, no, I can't. Somebody else can at this point.
And that's what you've got to kind of decide. If that's what you
People
call it,
that
you
are
call
hot
that
and
right.
heavy and excited right now are the people that, yeah, and I got to work those in order. I can't go backwards right now. I work full time, you
Yeah.
know, and it's a demanding
You
job.
need an assistant.
No, I need to just do it right now. Just get my bearings down.
I
I
just,
didn't I didn't get a registrar book or like I need to get my process down and then I'll go along swimming. So,
all right. I'm going to go ahead and close this meeting down. You guys, we've been here a couple hours now, and I thank you
oh
so,
gosh.
so
All
much.
right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, Susan.
I'll be in touch, you guys.
Good seeing you, Bonnie.
So